6 arpeggio in G, the key of G. We're in our G chord. Okay? We're at our G box at the 3rd fret. So, even though nobody plays that in its entirety, I play in pieces. I'll get to that. So we're at the 3rd fret, G. I'm assuming we already know, you already know your pentatonic scale. I'm assuming you already know your blues pentatonic scale. Okay, this is a major 6 arpeggio. Parts of it you'll recognize in bass lines. Anyway, whatever. I'll get to that in a minute. But so even though nobody plays it in its entirety, I use parts of it down here, so we'll break it into 2 parts. We'll go. Okay, and then the second part. So the 3rd fret of your E string. 2nd fret of your A string, 5th fret of your A string, 2nd fret of your D string, 5th fret of your D string, 4th fret of your G string. Oh, I made a mistake there. Did I? Yeah, of your G string. 4th fret of your G string, 3rd fret of your B string, 5th fret of your B string, 3rd fret of your E string, high E, then back. Okay? Now I generally use it. I generally use this part. Now you know your pentatonic. Okay. So you can mix this scale with your pentatonic scale. So I'm bending, rather than going, I'm bending to that. I'm using a partial G chord, which is in this scale we just learned. I'm going to a G7. This is a G7 right here. Sorry, I'm a little out of tune there. Then you can move all that up to your C. Back to G. D. C. That's kind of a BB game. I'm using the 6 or the that's a G right there. So I'm going. thing you could do for your 4 chord is to go into the major pentatonic scale. Okay? So the major so this is your C7 chord. This is your D7 chord. Back to G. So when I'm done in G, so what I did there was I went into my C7, C major pentatonic scale, and then went up into my C major, into the same scale that we learned down. Turn it into a 7. There I went into my D, major pentatonic, and then into the D, C major pentatonic, and then to G. Anyway, I'll come back and explain more of that. So it's very easy to, when you're a beginning blues player or you've only been playing for a short time, you're listening to records and you're watching, people play on YouTube. Generally, people who teach on YouTube will show you little pieces here and there, and then they're trying to sell you something. I don't have anything against those people, whatever. Okay? But I like to show things more in their entirety. Okay? Where a person is, where a person can come away from the video and have something that doesn't leave them stuck. It's like being in the pentatonic scale alone. It's okay to play in one position if that's what you want to do and you want to stay in one position, because you can go through all the chords in one position. But when you don't know where else to go, when you're stuck there because you don't know where to go, then it's not so much fun. It can get boring. So if you don't know where to bend, then you're kind of stuck. So back to that scale. I use it mostly here. Go up to C. Back to G. D. Whoops. C. And then learn to play around with it. Learn your chords. Here's a G. Okay. Here's a G6. Here's a C7. Here's your C9, which you can do this with it too. Okay. Your G again. G7. It's harder to do this way, and I always have a slide on. You can do a G7 here. Okay. Same with your C. G. D. C. Into your D9. Okay? So all along the pentatonic scale you have these chords. You have your major 6 arpeggio. It's hard to slow down because I'm always used to mixing it with everything. So you can mix all this stuff up to break out of just the pentatonic, being stuck in a rut. And learn to bend. Vibrato, I'll do it separate. Now, everybody has their own way to do vibrato. I'm still in the key of G. I think before you learn vibrato, you should learn where to bend. So that's where I bend that string. You can bend the 6th to the 7th on this one, on your B string. You can bend your, in the key of G, your E string, up a half step, whole step. It all comes down to like, sometimes just quarter bends, not even a half step. You have to get that motion in there. So there I'm using the major scale as well as, so here's your major pentatonic in G. Just a part of it. Here it is in C. Here it is in D. G. And then when you start to bend it and add it with your pentatonic, into my D7. So sometimes I'll use the guitar itself, the weight of the guitar when I'm doing vibrato. There's B.B. King's vibrato, which I've never been able to quite get. You know where it's a hole. With a slide, I've always been better at it. And you can vibrato a whole chord. So just learn that. Learn it in your C position. In your D position. double stops, 2 or more notes, 2 notes, So I'm not a guitar teacher. I'm not, I'm just a guy who sits on his couch. I'm a couch guitarist. There's nobody, I don't play the electric guitar a lot because there's nobody to play along with. Yeah, I play with jam tracks and stuff like that. But in the area where I live, there's nobody really into blues stuff. So I'm kind of on my own. So I play my acoustic a lot, I play my nationals a lot, I play open tunings a lot, slide guitar a lot. So this stuff, I don't play the electric a lot. I wish I played it more. So you just want to break out of your pentatonic. And the reason I like to teach this, like I have a couple people in town that come over and, you know, sit in my living room and learn some things from me, but the reason I like to teach this is because sitting down, especially when you're newer on the guitar, and if you start out on an acoustic guitar, you can start to play like this. I've said this in previous videos, where you're playing like this, your hand position is like this. And then when you go to stand up to play, you can't play anything, right? So this little exercise here, I find helps to keep your hand more glued to the fretboard, to keep it in the position that if you were to stand up, it would be easier for you to play. And I use this in on acoustic guitar too. I'll hook my thumb a lot of times for the G chord if I'm playing like alternate tuning, picking stuff. And the reason I will do that as opposed to playing like this is because it gives me access to all this stuff up here as well as down here, right? Because if you're playing a G and there's your G7, and you can always keep that bass going or weave it in and out like this. And then you can move it up to C. So, and not only that, but it works in other keys as well. If you're playing in, you know, the key of A, you could use it. You could use it in any key. So you can always have a bass line on top if you want. So that's why I teach that, for that reason, and to learn to keep your hand like this. Something else I wanted to show quickly in the key of G, and this works in any closed box position like an A, B, C, D, whatever, is, and I learned this playing with a slide because I couldn't do, if I was doing a shuffle, if I had a slide on my pinky, I mean, I couldn't do this note. with the slide on, I can't do. So what I figured out from listening to the old guys, the old acoustic blues guys, and different guys, was I finally figured out that I could play my shuffle, because this, you know, like your E, this position here, when you're doing a G7, we're using these notes here. I could play my shuffle in G. So you can play your whole, through your whole, all three chords right here. There's your G, and then all I'm doing is going on the high, on the low E. I'm not hitting it open, I'm hitting this, then I'm hitting this, then I'm hitting on top at my 7th fret. So I'm barring 2 strings at my 5th fret, the D and, or no, the D and A string, okay? I suppose you could just play that. So that allowed me to play in any key in standard tuning. If I was playing a shuffle blues with the slide on, and not have to be in open tuning. And sometimes you can actually fool people if you can get around good enough. In standard tuning with the slide, people will think that you're in open tuning. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that little position. Thanks for watching.